to enable them to get some detailed looks at the various surfaces of the space shuttle.
Discovery for Brew, referencing those, I got 4 procedures there, and your go for all of them at this time.
Sounds great. I'll put them in working order.
Roger.
You're listening in as the Discovery crew reporting down. They are commencing now with the starboard wing survey. That's using a laser dynamic range imager, or LDRI, at the end of the boom system. It's comprised of an infrared laser illuminator and an infrared camera receiver. It's used to provide 2- or 3-dimensional video imagery data. All of the imagery from today will be downlinked for analysis by specialists here at on the ground at the Johnson Space Center.
Houston, Discovery for EVA.
Discovery, Houston, go ahead for EVA, Koichi.
Yeah, Zambo, we completed the step up to step 63 of the EMU checkout. And in the step 53, there's a check action of EMU input amps on panel AW18 Hotel. And the numbers that we saw on the panel for the input amps was 5.0 at the off-scale high position of the meter. And later on in the step 57, the same panel indicator for the EMU input amps showed correct numbers at around 3.3. But we just wanted to report that step 53, the input amps numbers were off-scale high and at 5.0.
Discovery Houston for EVA. Koichi, thanks for that report. That performance is expected, and that is because you are installing the SCOF and putting in some speed control, so you can expect those amps to decrease between steps 5.3 and 5.7.
Copy that, Sambo. Thank you, and we're going to proceed on to step 64 at this time.
Okay, we copy you complete through step 6.3 and into step 6.4.
That was an update from Japanese astronaut Koichi Wakata as he's working through the continued checkout activities of the U.S. spacesuits. The activity is continuing well as we're in the late morning of the crew day for the Discovery crew, now in their first full day in space. They have 19 hours, 21 minutes mission elapsed time for this 119 mission after the successful launch yesterday evening from Kennedy Space Center. All of the activities going smoothly, and as you're watching, they're continuing with the survey activities. They've just begun the first of 3 areas that they'll be inspecting over the next several hours. This is a look at the starboard wing survey. They'll then move on to the nose cap, which will take just about an hour, and then all of the crew members will break for a midday meal before moving on to the afternoon activities, which will continue with the survey, this time on the left or port side of the orbiter, and then the continued preparations to transfer the spacesuits over to the space station.
Discovery, we like your view. You can proceed.
It'll work.
Well, most of the crew's day has been taken up with this heat shield inspection. Mission specialists Steve Swanson and Ricky Arnold spent a good chunk of their day checking out spacesuits that they will be wearing during the mission's 3 spacewalks. Swanson and Arnold will perform the first spacewalk on Thursday. That's 2 days after docking, rather than 1 is sometimes scheduled, to allow plenty of time to get the S6 truss segment out of the shuttle's cargo bay. Installation of S6 is the primary test for the first spacewalk, so obviously it's important that it be ready to go when the spacewalk starts. But it's going to take some maneuvering to get it there. The job actually calls for both the station and shuttle's robotic arm to get involved. Because of the clearance issues, the shuttle arm can't lift the segment out of the cargo bay on its own. So the station arm has to get it out, but the station arm is going to have to reach just about as far as it possibly can to get the S6 into place at the end of the starboard truss. And that means it has to move to the end of the rail system that it travels along on the station's truss. And it can't do that while it's carrying the S6 segment, so once it unpacks the segment, driven by Mission Specialist John Phillips and Flight Engineer Sandy Magnus, it's going to hand the segment off to the shuttle robotic arm with pilot Tony Antonelli and Mission Specialist Joe Acava at the helm. Then the shuttle arm will hold onto it while the station arm makes its way to the end of the starboard side of the truss on top of its mobile transporter. And when it gets there, the shuttle arm will then hand it back over, leaving it ready for installation on Thursday. That process is going to take several hours, so Flight Day 4 has been pretty much devoted to it rather than trying to get the segment unberthed in time for a Flight Day 4 spacewalk. After all that work, Swanson and Arnold will spend almost all of the first spacewalk installing the segment and getting it ready for use. The segment, of course, contains the last two solar arrays for the station, completing its power generation capability. That spacewalk will be Swanson's third. He's the lead and only veteran spacewalker on the mission and has performed two previous spacewalks during his first mission, STS119 in 2007. It will be Arnold's first spacewalk. He was scheduled to perform a total of 3 during the mission, but because Discovery's mission was shortened a few days when its launch was delayed, that put it up against an upcoming Soyuz launch. So one of the 3 spacewalks was removed from the timeline to allow Discovery to undock from the station before the Soyuz gets there. There's still a total of 3 spacewalks on the mission, however. The second will be performed by Swanson and Mission Specialist Joe Acaba on Saturday. And then the third will team up Arnold and Acaba a week from today. The content of the mission's third spacewalk won't change much from what was planned before the launch delay, but the second spacewalk will change just a bit. The flight controllers here on the ground are looking at exactly what that plan will be. The intent is to take some of the high priority items from what had been planned to be the 4th spacewalk of the mission and move them to the second spacewalk to be sure that they get done before Discovery has to undock. View here of the orbiter boom sensor system still attached to the shuttle's robotic arm. You can see there on the end some of the systems that the crew has been using for today's inspection. Those systems include the laser dynamic range imager that provides 3D views of the areas that are being surveyed. And that's what provides the black and white flickering images you see during the inspection. The system works by capturing sequences of video frames in 2 dimensions that can be used to create 3-dimensional images. There's also on the end there a laser camera system which creates files that can be used to build 3D computer models, and an intensified television camera that provides low-light black and white television views. Pilot Tony Antonelli and Mission Specialist Koichi Wakata currently carefully lowering that boom into its latches on the shuttle's payload bay seal.
Satellite camera installed, going in work. And Ricky's going to hold off on the arm's pictures until we're done berthing the arm. So you'll be assessed.
Copy and concur.
Good view here of the orbiter boom sensor system coming in for berthing in its latches along the sill of the shuttle's cargo bay. Closer look here at some of the systems that the shuttle crew has been using to survey the wing leading edges and nose cap.
Flight PDRS, we've got all the ready.
as pilot Tony Antonelli and mission